top orange pipes, that seems to be the go for a lot of people. But one thing we do see is those really quick ball rotations, and we're starting to see the movement as well. People getting these movement mechanics sorted a lot more. Some of the ways they're able to traverse from one end of the map on rechart in particular to the other are really impressive. And so I'm interested to see if some of the players are going to start employing some of these advanced techniques to get across the map and not expose themselves as much as typically they would.
Yeah, and certainly it's been a few months since Infinite has released, so no excuses now not to learn all those new tricks and tips. There's been a few things floating around on Twitter of sneaky little things that players can do, and we are starting things off with Zave. We talked about him before, new young blood, given the opportunity to prove himself against some of the best here, putting in some nice shots. I'm loving the way that he's switching targets here, Hoots, and he's putting some nice shots down onto Vamp. It's starting to get some ball time for his team, and a really good start from Zave here.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? 3 down for Direwolves, so it's the perfect time for Malicious to start to set up. And we do see, as we spoke about before, they are moving to this top goal position. So I really did like Zave's tendency to hold up top and hold height earlier. One of the things that new players do struggle with coming into Halo is often giving up that height position and jumping into a fight to try and get a position to put more shots in. But by holding that height, he was able to provide great assists for his team and make a move on that ball. Because one thing we did see at Raleigh as well was that teams often take a while to move for that opening ball pickup. But we are seeing so far, the slays come pretty easily and the start being quite even as well across with the ball. But where teams are going to choose to hold and if teams have a preferred hold or if they instead like to maybe rotate around depending on the way slays are going, that's going to be interesting to see. And it looks like right now Direwolves are opting to hold this ball up around the top A area.
Yeah, this top A area, it's a good place to milk a little bit at times if you're on a bit of a nail biter, jumping around that elevator, a bit of a ring around the rosy. Now on board with Zirkle, though, as he's stalking his next victim, finds himself Brattles putting some shots into there, but Brattles goes for a ballsy little challenge there with his help. Dino get the cleaner, and I love Zirkle's position here. He's just making sure he's applying pressure to the Malicious boys, keeping them down, not committing to too many fights. So they're stretching with that sword. He's like, you know what? Nah, I'll come back later, boys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, they're holding this top area really well, Direwolves. They've got the cover from up there, as we can see right now. Zirkle jumping down and managing to pick up a nice double there before being dropped, but that's 3 down for Malicious, and they're going to struggle to make any really impact on this ball. And as we can see, they're 4 down for quite a while, so Direwolves able to rack up, and they're already halfway through for this first round. Worth mentioning for those who are a bit new to Halo that we are working in a best of 3 round setup. Each round is first team to 100 points, and also worth noting that when that ball is held, the countdown timer actually does stop. So teams, as they get closer towards the end, can sometimes need to make a decision on whether or not they look to hold the ball and try and eke out more of a lead, or at least just keep the ball neutral and let that game count down and finish the round off. But we do see here, it looks like we are seeing Malicious finally get a bit more ball time as we are on board with Brattles, and he's just laying down a bit of cockfire. And he's got this this rifle here, Justin, which I think is probably my favourite gun. When you rack up one of those perfect kills, there's nothing more satisfying, I find.
I love a good satisfying gun, and Brattles really holding down this position. Vamp just ran straight past him, and I loved how, Brattles was holding back Vamp and changed angles and just went, I'm going to help my teammates. He knew that player was there, and he just went, he can push when he wants, so I'm going to put fire across map for his team. And the scoreline, there was a bit of a lead for Direwolves, but Malicious, they're managing to get some points on the board now, and Brattles, he's got to start picking up some kills with this shock rifle, goes in aggressive, gets a nice little hit on there, does get the tasty little clean up there, Hoots. I thought he was almost going to get away.
Yeah, no, I love that. And we are seeing for the first time, the setup isn't there for Direwolves now, and so there's a bit more chaos, and they just haven't really been able to set up and get a good chunk of time. And the ball actually has moved out. It might have reset, actually, I think, back at spawn. So we are still on board here with Rated. He's managing to stay around. Doesn't want to pick up that sword, instead opting to go with the Mangler, but he's taken down. So a bit of a stalemate here right now. Ball's not really being taken by anyone, and we are now jumping with Shrek, and he's taken down. So the death finger is in effect in terms of picking these players to follow. But we are seeing, it looks like Direwolves trying to go back to that A. So Justin, are you feeling that that's the position they want to be holding this ball, and is this their preferred area?
Yeah, it seems like they are comfortable here, and sometimes that's just how things play out. The flow of the game can change round to round, and with a multi-round system of oddball, you might see them holding out different areas of the map. And now we're on board with Zave. We were talking about him before. He's currently 7-6, and it's not a massive scoreline, but the fact that he's keeping up with the big boys at the top of ANZ is really good to see. Some fresh blood his opportunity to shine against these top teams, fantastic to see. And we're seeing a nice kill from a Vamped there, a real star player. And look, I think Vamped is a very hungry player. He's young, he's ready to perform, and I would expect to see him to perform really well throughout this series.
Yeah, 100%. It looks like we are just not really getting a proper setup for anyone right now. In fact, if we look at where the ball's been moving for the last minute, really, it's kind of gone all over the map. It looks like we're seeing Direwolves trying to bring it back to this A area, Malicious, when they do get in, trying to get it out of there. And, you know, one thing that is also really important in oddball is if you feel like you're outnumbered in a position like that, to try and just throw the ball down bottom middle. We see a lot of teams opting to do that, putting the ball in a neutral spot, which means that, you know, teams are going to have to take a bit of a risk to go and get it. But, you know, we saw 3 down for Direwolves then, but even then, Malicious just aren't able to really get much of a chunk of time. And whilst, you know, there is still plenty of time for them to come back, and they are slowly eking away, and we are seeing a rotation through to the top goal now where they do look a bit set up, they're going to have to try and get it there, and we're going to have to see Zave move across to these pipes to try and provide a bit of cover. We actually have Brattles there, so this is actually a good setup, Justin. We might be able to see them get a fair bit of time in a row here as we've got all 4 up all around this gold.
Yeah, and we can see where the enemy players are on the map, and I love that rotation from Shrekman. He just rotated in the perfect spot, and now an opportunity for them to get some scores. Nice little cleanup by Zave there and getting even more points on the board. And look at that. You know, Direwolves, they had this huge 50, 60 point lead, and look at it. It's basically even at this point, Hoots. And this setup, all it takes with oddball is a couple of good runs and you're right back in it. And that's one great thing about this game type.
Yeah, Direwolves look like they were stacking the long haul and pushing through there. Raider was able to stay alive the whole way through, so I'm not sure how they managed to get through him there, but all the while, we've actually had Malicious now take the lead, and they're saying this is a great rotation, Justin. Getting shots, starting to run back through long haul. He's going to get taken down there, but at least he managed to get it out of that top gold area where, you know, if Malicious were taken mostly down there like they are now, we've got 3 dead, you know, Direwolves can't just come in and instantly steal the setup and hold there. So he managed to get it out, but it does look like Direwolves are trying to bring it back. They feel that's the safe spot. Dino's got this camo, and it looks like they might be able to be in a position to take a bit of a hefty lead and maybe close this round out with just 14 seconds needed left.
Oh, that was a really unfortunate death there, losing that camo. And we are going to see a double kill from Zirkle. Third's there if he wants it. Does only get the assist, but that's okay. Scoreline is really starting to tighten up here on board with Vamps. He's in a very precarious situation right now. Has got a little bit of help, and he's getting shot in the back. A sneaky player from behind opting straight to play that ball, trying to stay alive, but, you know, that ball is going to be played, Hoots. And look at the scoreline, 96 to 75. Direwolves really only need a few more points to put this one in the bag.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to get that. So it was unfortunate. It was a smart play ball in the end. You know, sometimes the risk is when you do play ball that the ball can go back neutral and the other team can pick it up. But Direwolves had someone ready there to take that and get those final few seconds. So, you know, look, Malicious, a really strong effort there at the start. Definitely weren't disgraced at all. And so now we move into this round 2. But this is a prime example of them to be able to reset with this new oddball format we have and try and, you know, bring that back to 1-0 and then move to a deciding game, round 3 for this oddball. But we are going to have a camo in the hand of ball. He takes it after waiting back a little bit and then takes it pretty uncontested. So he's going to be able to move around the top mid of the map pretty freely and not be seen, as we can see there, is able to do that move up on rated and get an assist. It doesn't register as an assist, but able to grab that and take the ball and really just run a bit of a muck here and putting in shots everywhere.
Yeah, the patience of balls. And we saw in that last round too, Direwolves, they let Malicious, get that big run. They were really patient. They waited for the camo, they waited for their opportunity, and that's what we're seeing from these Direwolves guys, is that they're waiting for the opportunities before making a push. They're working as a team, and it's translated to a round win so far and a few points on the board in this second round here. And Vamp's finding himself one. Shrekman there for the perfect, a tasty little double from him. You gotta love that. That perfect medal, just the best sound in the world.
Yeah, that double really helped just keep them away from that being able to make much of a setup, and the ball's just now going to hang back around this neutral area. And so it looks like, you know, again, we are going to see probably a round of slays come in before someone goes to take that ball, as we do have here Raider just hovering around, just trying to make sure that no one's actually able to get it. Looks like he's waiting for his team to get set up before making a play on it, but with 2 down now almost, but Vamp does stay alive, so they had a chance to go 2 down there. Vamp manages to just put his head down, stay alive. Doing a random Explain that one to me, Justin.
You know, he's just working on his dance routine. You know, the Direwolves dance routine. And they'll be interesting to see Atlanta. Can't wait to see them dancing up on main stage, and Dino finding himself another kill. And it's a bit of a standstill at the moment, Hoots. Neither team going for big runs here. Killing spree for Dino, trying to stay alive. Looks like he is setting up and applying as much pressure as he can to try and pick up this camo. And will he able to get it? No, he's like, no, I'm not going to burn it. He's opting to be patient, and that's what we're seeing from these Direwolves players. And Shrekman, he goes for the burn. Probably a smart play from them. They just can't allow Direwolves to have any advantage when they're down 20 points or so. Hooters, they have to burn those power-ups.
Yeah, Dino went just a little bit early on that camo, wasn't able to pick it up, manages to drop it. So that camo is just still sitting down there, I believe. No one really wanting to make a push and get it. Dino's been low shit the whole time. The repulsor's up and manages to get a really sneaky kill on Raider then. I love that. Using that repulsor to shoot himself up and catch him completely unaware with the backsmack and the angler. So that's just the way we see these new pieces of equipment being used in really interesting ways. Maybe not as they were initially intended, but to be able to jump up and really cut through routes differently to what you normally have to do, that can help you really break a setup. And we are seeing the ball starting to shift around, although still not really much happening, Justin, in terms of the way of ball time. It looks like the Slays are sort of the focus right now. Malicious managing again to just get a little bit of a touch on it, only out 1 second before being moved away. And we are seeing this round start to move on a little bit in terms of round timer without score going up. So, you know, we start to look at that countdown timer in the middle of the two scores there, and that can start to become a bit of an issue.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to be falling behind when there's not much time left on the clock. And, you know, with an objective game like this, it's all about your opportunities. And if you haven't got the opportunities to wait for a camo or wait for your picks, and you're forced to rush into situations without having a numbers advantage, it can be a real problem. And Direwolves are in a comfy spot right now. Zave picking himself up one, goes for the second charge. Look at these grenades coming in. Zave just doing so well to hold down these vented areas. Finds himself vamped. Nice. Does get a nice kill on him, and Zabe, he's really impressing me. He's stepping up. He does get cleaned up there. I'm not sure how, Hoots, but, you know, Zabe really performing for his squad.
Yeah, but the whole time he's doing that, though, unfortunately, the ball is slowly being shifted around by Direwolf, so he's just trying to hold his own, do his bit for his team, but, you know, the focus also needs to shift to that ball at some point, right? You can slay as much as you want, but you do eventually have to start saying, let's get ball focus. We are seeing Malicious start to move in on this ball a little bit more with a nice trade there, coming out to remove the camo, but we have Dino now picking up the ball, and it looks like they're going to hold this blue area a little bit. We haven't seen it a huge amount just towards the end, but they're in a safe position here where if they think they can get enough time, hold it, but then if they do need to throw it off the map, go for a play ball.
Yeah, and the scoreline is starting to blow a little bit. As I say that, Malicious, they've got themselves a bit of a setup. They have lots of players over on the blue turbine area there, and Zabe on ball holding duty, and Vamp doing his best to apply pressure, but he just gets pushed back, and that's what you need from your teammates that are helping you hold a setup, is to just keep those players at bay. It's not about getting kills in that situation. You just want to be applying pressure so you can rack up points.
Yeah, they brought it in a fair bit then, and it managed to, the ball has gone over and it's reset now, but you know, he wasn't able to play ball. It was hit by nades straight away, but it looks like his team were able to come in and throw it off at the end, so they're now in a position, as we can see, to grab the ball, save straight again. Even though he died before, he was grabbing the ball, starting to move it. He's trying to take it to this top A area now. Unfortunately, it looks like Direwolves are around there quite a bit, and that's a 3 down, so sometimes you just get really unlucky there, Justin, where you think you have a spot to take it. Maybe the communication's not that great. Maybe an enemy's been able to sneak around a little bit and get in a position to stop that setup, but taking it to A just didn't work out for them then, and that's got to be really disheartening, because now we see Direwolves in possession of the ball, starting to move it to gold to try and put an end to this round and this game 1.
Yeah, and Zirkle hopping along the yellow brick road, trying to get away here, racking up some points for his team, and it does look like he's got a bit of a buffer with Dino as well. We can see through the screen that the Malicious boys are nowhere to be seen on this side of the map, and now Zirkle, he can use that communication to rotate it into the elevator and rack up even more points. Malicious, they're going to be starting to feel that pressure, as you were talking about before, Hoots. I mean, there's only a minute left on the clock, and they're double the scoreline right now. Zabe managing to beat out Dino there as he's stuck trying to reload his weapon, and now on board with him. And how many kills he's got? He's 10 and 8 right now, so he's proving that he can hang with the big boys, Hoots. And now Malicious, now's your time to shine. It's now or never. If you don't bring up that scoreline, you're going to have a bit of a difficult time.
Zave's 10 and 8, but look at that objective as well, 82 on objective, so he's putting in a lot of work here. We are on with Zave right now, and he's managing to hold out. Just stay alive, though. That really works well. He's going to get taken down, unfortunately, but we have Raided there as well, who can get this kill here. And if he was able to just stay alive, we might have been able to see them create a bit of a distraction, but a really good push there from Direwolves. They've only got 15 seconds left, but more importantly as well, there's just 50 seconds of actual game time, so they can choose as well to drop and just try and guard, drop the ball, guard, put some shots out, keep them away, but they're just staying alive perfectly here with Zirkle, managing to hold on to that ball, pick up a bit of time. He's double teamed, but this is do or die now, Justin, for Malicious. They really need to grab this ball and hold on for almost the entire time.
Yeah, Malicious, they've got their opportunity. It could be the last one of the game because Direwolves, they only need 7 more points and there's only 46 seconds on the clock. For those playing at home, if you're not holding the ball, that is the only time that the countdown timer will go down. So, in a way, Direwolves, they could just work down the clock and keep Malicious off that ball. And look at this, Shrekman, the old Jim Bob on 15 kills, make that 16, applying so much pressure. And Brattle's doing the dirty work, getting that objective scoreline. And look at this, Shrekman going in for blood, killing speed for him, and there's a second if he wants it. Another tasty double kill for him, Hooters. Shrekman's here to play.
Hey, this is massive right here. If they can hold off one more round of spawns here, they can bring this round back. I mean, look, we're only 10 seconds down here, and they've got a pretty good setup. We've got Shrekman here. He's managing to put great shots on the batteries there, keep them away, gets the assist, and we've still got, they're about to take the lead now with just a few seconds to go. And Shrekman's playing this perfectly, takes that down. He goes for the drop to pull out his BR really quickly. Unfortunately, he's dropped. Dino's sitting there, but they're going to get this. So that's a fantastic
wow.
We did not think we'd see that. That is absolutely huge. And Justin, let's talk about the momentum shift there as well, right? I mean, they were down and out. Looks like the game was over. They've flipped that around. How are Direwolves feeling now going into, or being forced into a final round?
Yeah, I think there was a few microphones peeking from the Let's Go boys in the Malicious chat, and we're jumping straight back on board with Zave, and he's putting some nice shots down there. 2 kills for Malicious, and they're going to jump on that ball and get some points right away, opting to rotate it over into the elevator area. Brattle's grabbing that ball, but it does look like Dino's got a really good spawn that's going to be able to put that setup down straight away. And Shrekman, he's got the grapple, he's got the shock rifle, and he's got the camo, Hoots. He's poised for another killing spree.
Yeah, he's unfortunately runs out at the worst possible time, gets that no-scope, unfortunately can't finish it. That hurts. So, the camo just ended at the absolute worst time. He got the no-scope, but just couldn't finish there with the BR. And, yeah, look, I mean, at least it's not a power-up taken down because the power-up naturally expired. But what it does mean is, look, we have Direwolves moving into this top gold setup here and running it straight away through this little protective hut up here and down through long hole. So I'm really liking this move, and look at the push coming through here. It's just Shrekman there trying to hold them off the ball. So he's actually doing a good job of saying, no, I'm not letting you go through to blue. I'm just going to hold here, and manages to pick up a kill and a double actually. So that's massive as well. He single-handedly stopped that rotation through to blue, and they'll now be in a position to grab this ball and take it wherever they please with 2 dead for a little while for Direwolves.
Yeah, I just want to highlight Shrekman for a second here. He's on 7 kills, which when you compare it to everyone else in the game, he is just dominating. And here we see Zave, the objective monster on this team with triple-digit point scoreline, getting ready to play that ball. And I love he's jumping off the map with the ball. He knew that he was dead, but he can milk an extra couple of seconds by still holding it as he jumped off. Now on board with Bolds, trying to check some angles here. Some patience from this old ANZ go, and here he is grabbing that ball. His patience rewarded, and he is going to be able to scrap a little bit of time, and not much of a lead for Malicious right now. Anybody's game at this point, we are seeing that lead just completely dissolve. And look at this Bolts, he senses that he's getting pushed. That's Peter Tinkle just going off, and he plays that ball out into the open, and Bolts, he's doing all the right things.
Yeah, he's staying alive and moving around a lot. Unfortunately, he's probably going to get dropped there. As I thought, that when you're holding that odd ball, just one little thing that's worth mentioning is your time between melees is slightly reduced compared to someone holding a weapon, so you can get those double beatdowns when you're going up one-on-one with someone who has a weapon. So that worked out well for them, and then they're able to still hold a little bit of control, although we are seeing Direwolves starting to shift it to 8, so they really really do want to get it out of that gold area. Hiding in the box there was raided. I think he was pushed into there by a grenade, but 2 down for each team. This ball's sitting there, kind of mutual. Baldy's hanging around it, but a big RBR there from Brattles. He'll push down, and we do see Shrekham moving in on board here, who's holding the ball, so that's going to be a great double team there. And Shrekham here, he's just slaying like a maniac still, and putting in, not a decent amount of objective time, I guess, but really helping just keep them away, the Direwolves players away as they are trying to get this set up at A. But Justin, it looks like the Malicious are really keen to move it at the first sign of danger. They'll get a set up, but as soon as shots come in, they're out of there straight away. They're not going to want to stay and try and fight.
Yeah, well, it's a good way to scrap time. Like, if you're rotating through the map, it might take you, 5 to 8 seconds to rotate a ball to another area on the map, and, you're slowly just running away from the players, and it's a really nice way to scrap together a couple of extra points here, and it has been working out for Malicious. Maybe that opting to rotate right away towards your spawning teammates is the difference of 10 points at the moment, but we are seeing a Direwolves pick up the ball, and that scoreline may as well be completely even. Zirkle with that Mangler there ready to take down players coming in, and look at this, they love this area of the map, Hooters. They just hold it down, they've got the top elevator, the bottom elevator, they just jump up and down as needed to take down players. Missing that first critical shot and going down now board with Vamps, who's trying to get that camo, does get the burn. No, it got scooped up, it's still there. Brattles desperately trying to get it, trying to stay alive, but he does. Wow.
Yeah, and look, that setup just before from Direwolves came from getting 4 down, which is so crucial in those objective games. And we see a nice little, I think, was that almost a toss or a nade for the ball to go up there?
I think that was a grapple.
Was it? Oh, grapple, of course. Yeah, sorry. So, just getting it up there, holding cover. And so, this is just a real back and forth. But this camo in the hand of Brattles, who managed to stay alive, as we saw before, Justin, without being taken out. This could be a real difference maker. Putting shots in ball there, he'll probably get cleaned up then, I imagine, by raided, and that's what happens. So this camo's now run out, but he's used this perfectly, and we are seeing that the spawn across at blue for Direwolf. So Malicious going to be able to get a good amount of time here. Shrekman holding the ball, so he's stopping his slaying for a little bit. But as you can see, all the Direwolf players coming into this setup are just getting tagged while Malicious has actually shifted this over to 8. This is a perfect run, and they're putting in a lot of time. They've only got 30 seconds left to win this.
Yeah, he's starting to get very dangerous for the Direwolves boys, and I love that light from Brattles, Hoots. He played the camo perfectly, and then just the internal halo timer. He saw that those players were rotating up the hallway there, and he went, you know what, I've got a little bit of time before they poke their heads out, and immediately looked at a different target. That's the difference maker. And Shrekmin, the slaying master, he's decided to get some OBJ time, and it's only a few seconds left, and it does look like Malicious might be able to win this first game, Hoots, after losing that first round. Shrekmin slaying and objective master.
Wow, that is just the turn in that second round, and that's the difference, and that's why you're never out of it, and that's why this new oddball format just works so well, is that even if
Couldn't agree more, and a lot of the time it is just about putting yourself out there, get the stream going, have one good game where the right players are watching and they go, you know what, let's give this kid a chance. So if you're a young gun at home that's a bit of a social monster, sign up to these tournaments and show us what you can do, and you might find yourself on a top squad where we are launching into live fire Slayer, Hoots, and it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath, I reckon. Direwolves licking their paws a little bit, but they're going to come out biting, in my opinion, and we are launching it off with balls, the ANZ Goat, and that sniper rifle poised in the middle of the map here. Look at that little peak shot with the BR, and a lot of the Direwolves roster allocating a lot of their resources. Nice little stick from Vamped. I always love that. And who's that with the sniper rifle? Zirkle slinking away with that power weapon there, Hoots.
Yeah. So we're going to try and see where he's going to try and hold. Often the players we see move to that tower, but hanging around down here near the pillars, not probably the spot you'd think with the sniper in your hand. But let's just talk also about Bald, for example, and Zirkle from New Zealand. I wonder how they're feeling after seeing that shout out by Rat earlier, saying that for New Zealand teams it's done, give up, it's all Australia in the ANZC now. That's got to get you going a little bit, surely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the NZ cousins, mate, they're a little bit more chilled than the Aussies, as chilled as we can get. And, Rat City, he's a bit of a larrikin. I'm pretty sure most people would just take that and go, here comes Rat City, talking smack once again. And raided now with this heat wave, looking to find some players doing a bit of a YY action. And when someone's YYing, they're a proper pro player. And look at this, is slowed right down, 10-4. And it was very scrappy opportunity for that first portion of the game. And look at this, Dino just hanging out in no man's land. He just gets taken down right away. Vamp responding to the call out, but not enough weak players there. I mean, not something that you want to commit to too hard. And, you know, when a game is slow, it's all about waiting for that opportunity. You can't be that first kill. Another killing spree and perfect for Raiden. He's shooting straight today, Hoots.
Hey, this lead's blowing out a fair bit at the start, and we always say, you know, it sounds like a broken record, but we don't really pay attention to Slayers until we hit that, you know, 30 or so kill mark. But they've jumped out of the gate, Malicious, really quickly. You know, the pace has been slow, though, so in that sense, that, you know, when I say they've jumped out quickly, I mean they've put a good lead together in these early stages. But, you know, we have seen Slayer games, particularly even at Raleigh, you know, the pace can really drop out of them, and teams will favour a setup rather than that run and gun approach. So playing Slayer is almost like an objective, and both teams just sit on a certain sides waiting for each other to come along. But we are seeing a lot of movement by Rated here. Moving with this heatwave, chooses a bad time to reload, unfortunately. He is taken down as we move on with Braddles. He's stuck in his garage here in his double team. So
unfortunate.
Yeah, it doesn't work well. So that double team is always so crucial. I know that when you've got two players against one, you're always going to come out on top of that that situation. But look, the heatwave has been something we've been following, and a nice ninja there. Didn't really see how he got him from behind, but you know,
he found a way.
He found a way, and this lead now out to 10 for Malicious.
Yeah, and looking at the scoreline, we do have Zave performing once again. Good stuff to see. We are on board with Rated, so we're going to give him some love. Trying to spot out Zerkle, managed to get a nice little kill onto him. And look at this, Rated just putting damage down on the map. He's opting not to rotate through, waiting for that sniper rifle to spawn. And I think he thinks there's a little player hiding there, potentially. There's a little bit, you know, he's like, mate, I want that sniper rifle. I'm not giving anyone an opportunity to get it over me. And look at this, Rated. He's just valuing his life so much, and here comes Vamp to sort him out. I love that push by Vamp, those Hooters. He left a sniper rifle there and went, you know what, I'm going to apply pressure so you boys can get the power weapon. We'll have to see if that actually worked out for them.
Yeah, geez, let's look at Zave for a second. 11 kills, 4 test try with the PB doesn't work. It's been nerfed a little bit, so, you know, it's not one you often go for at Infinite, but Zave really, it's kind of what we saw in the Raleigh qualifier, his slaying ability being on show, as we are seeing a 14 kill lead breakout now for Malicious. So, you know, we've said that when teams get to 30 kills, that's when we start paying attention. Well, Malicious is there, and they're starting to push forward. It's, you know, a lot of attention being paid around this tower here, but just held perfectly here by Bald. He really used that well. And he's going to go one-on-one against Shrekman. He's taken down. So Shrekman, I think, did he pick up the power up? Was it up then? I actually missed that, Justin. I think it's just about to pop up the camo. So we are going to see a push here from Dino. And I think Direwolves just need this power if they're going to have any chance of winning this game.
Yeah, it is a key for them to get back into it, as you say, Hoots. And look at this, Dino putting some pressure in there. Or I think he was going for a stick, but he hit the broadside of a barn, unfortunately. And Vamp trying to get the trade there. He does manage to get it. And that camo, I'm not sure if it managed to get in the hands of one of the players, but we are on board with Rated, who has been a star player for the Malicious roster. Twitching a little bit there. It's like, oh, there's a player there, and grabs himself the mangler, slams that into his back pocket, changing angles straight away. That sniper rifle going down in the grass area and losing to Vamp in that situation. Vamp, he was one shot. I'm not sure how he managed to secure that kill there, Hoots.
Yeah, I don't know how he actually managed to. I think it was the Mangler melee combo, I think, which always comes up trumps, but when you're no shields, you should at least probably get a trade there. So didn't even manage to get the melee off, which hurts. But so we're out to a 16 kill lead now. Malicious just starting to swarm, only needing 11 more. And when you're up with the lead like this, you can play a bit more freely, Justin. And so, you know, you start to ignore the idea of setups and you can move around a little bit. Unfortunately, Braddles, I think he thought he had that kill and it didn't happen. So 3 dead for Malicious. Direwolf starting to bring a little bit of a comeback now. It's back to 12, but they're going to have to try and make some big moves and really stop giving away deaths. We're seeing all of Malicious backed up in this garage now. So it's just going to be a time for Direwolves. We see taking the pace right out of it. Vamp just trying to stay alive. But he's going to need to be pushing through with a teammate here. It's just too dangerous to be running around with just one of you.
And look at this, Vamp's going up against 2, and as you say, just too dangerous. Imagine you get 1 kill, but that's a trade, and that goes in the favour of Malicious. You can't be giving away trades when you're down this much, and Direwolves, they just really need to set the pace of the game, but with only 5 kills in the buffer before this game goes over to Malicious, Direwolves, they're in a little bit of trouble here, and we see Zave, he's rotating around the map, does look like he's waiting for that spawn, does get the needle. I wonder if we'll get see some body shot disrespect. Grabs himself the camo and now rotating through the map, collects some plasma grenades, maybe go for a sneaky. But here he goes. Neela, the sniper rifle. You saw it here first, folks. Load that up into your favourite gun combinations. And here he is trying to stay alive. He's got all the weapons, doesn't manage to connect onto that no scope. And he just pulls it out. And there we go. He gets the doubles kill to finish off that game. And Malicious, 50-31, Hoots. They're just dominating Direwolves.
Far out. I did not expect to see a 2-0 sweep in our first series, particularly in this. Like, I think